It is time for our morning must listen. Today it comes from the ECB. We'll get there in just a moment. We have been hearing from Vitor Constancio. He's been speaking with Bloomberg's Matt Miller in Frankfurt. He gave us his take on possible market reaction to the central bank's stimulus wind down.
Well, I think that markets have understood very well our reaction function in what regards our monetary policy. So I do not fear that markets would be in a position where they would be surprised by what we will do in the future, reflecting the new situation, the new developments. Markets know that we are committed to a certain policy stance until the end of this year, which by definition means that we have to communicate something to the markets before the end of the year, closer to the end of the year. Markets understand that very well. And so I do not fear any problems or turbulence resulting from our monetary policy decisions going forward. As you said, financial stability is always implicit in the concerns of central banks, since there are central banks, but we see the financial stability risks as something that has to be addressed by macroprudential policies, meaning changes, decisions about regulation and supervision of financial institutions.
Do you have to be especially cautious at this June? I mean, if you want to make it clear that there's going to be some change in monetary policy by the end of the year, that leaves out June, and it would make sense to be cautious this June because you've got the Fed moving again in June.
I'm not anticipating what the Governing Council will do in June or in September. I'm just pointing out to something that is evident, that we are committed explicitly with certain policy instruments until the end of the year, and we have to take decisions then about the future before the end of the year. In my perspective, closer to the end of the year, but that's not in the end an important consideration if it is just a problem of analyzing what would be the best time to do it. That's not in the end so important.
Vitor Constancio, the number 2 to Mario Draghi, who will be speaking later on today in Spain, talking to Matt Miller. Tom, they're clearly concerned about getting the messaging right. They don't want to sort of go through any kind of a taper tantrum. They're worried about the effect that the Fed will have as well, maybe dragging yields higher as it tightens policy. A lot to think about, I would argue, for the ECB going forward from here. I just wonder whether they're a little bit obsessed with focusing on inflation, which is going nowhere right now.
Well, that's their talk in their book. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I would say the book is the headlines of the newspapers, which is on Greece. Maybe it's on Italy as well. And the gift that keeps on giving, which is decent European growth. That's a real game change for Draghi and Constancio. No question about that.